Hello, my name is Sebastian Jimenez. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Cali, Colombia, and I've been living here in Bogota for the past 5 years. I'm a med student in the Universidad Javeriana of Bogota, and I currently taking the English course, level 3 and 4, and this is my final project. So I'm going to talk about the environmental problems here in Bogota and how this could affect the health of the citizens and how can we prevent it in an individual way and in a public health uh, strategy. So first, I think we have to get in context with the city and what we are going to talk about. And we have to say that Bogota is the capital city of Colombia. There is near 9 millions of citizens in the city. There are and we are going to talk about like the main sources of pollution here in the city. So for example, there are many cars and vehicles of public transportation or private cars that don't match up the standards of the law that prevent us from harming the environment. There are many industries here in the city that are located in some residential carpets or neighborhoods that can affect directly the air from the neighborhood and also the air from the whole city. So we have to take in account that. And there is a huge problem with the managing with the handling, with the handling of the garbage here in the city, of the waste that we produce. And we have to, well, we have to work in that part, and we are going to discuss a little bit also about the health issues that can be directly related to this pollution in the air, and how this can affect specifically two populations, two part of the citizens in the city, that are the children and the elderly people, and how they could be more affected by lung problems, heart problems, or chronic diseases like cancer. For example, the lung problems are very common in children and in elderly people, like lung infections or problems with more with a more chronic development, like obstructive pulmonary disease. And heart problems are very common in elderly people, like I said, more a little bit more of chronic diseases like hypertension and other diseases like, for example, a obstruction of the lungs that could have a worse development because of the pollution in the air, and chronic diseases like cancer, because long-term exposure to this pollution could end in, for example, in lung cancer. um, Now we are going to talk about a little bit of the actions that we can do in a personal or individual way and in a global scale. For example, here in Bogota, there's a strategy called a day día sin carro, a day without a car. In that day, there can be only the public transportations, cars, or cars that are related with construction sites or a cargo of merchandise or food, for example, but no private cars. And although it's a good way to decrease the contamination in the in a short term, in a long term, there is no real solution with this measurement. The destruction or prohibition of the transit of these old cars that doesn't have the standards that can prevent from harming the air or polluting the air. More controls in the big industries, so we have to have a real strict control of the air or the emissions that could be derived from the big industries, and how this could be a really main source of pollution here in Bogota, and where are they located, because like I already said, There are many industries in some residential carpets or districts of the city that are very harmful for the people that live in these districts or for the and for the whole city in a global way. And there is also a strategy called Piculpac Ambiental that it is only used when the levels of pollution in the air are very very high and very dangerous for us. But I think we could use it in a more preventive way, like to prevent the problem from reaching to these high levels and be harmful for us. We could use it only to, well, yeah, like I said, to prevent the levels reaching this high. In a personal way, you can share vehicles, use public transportation, recycle. For example, you also have to be very aware of your waste and how and where and when do you put it in the garbage cans. You can work more. This could be a double benefit because you also can benefit yourself to doing some physical activity and protecting your cardiovascular system, and you use less the car or the public transportation that are two sources of pollution very common. You have also to use protection devices like masks to protect yourself from the air from the polluted air. And the public health concerns, I think that all the efforts should go to the vulnerable people like children and elderly people. You have to assure that these people are very protected and all the measurements go to them. They have to be reassured the use of the protective devices like masks, and we could think from a for a long term solution to relocate some work or site studies. We also have in the control of the industry, the big industries, we have to see where they are located and how are the protocols to prevent from polluting the air. We also could plant more trees here in the mainland of the city or in the natural reservoirs near the city. Also, we have to protect these big green zones near Bogota and the water bodies that are in the city and near the city, for example, La Calera and the district of Ochoachi. Uh, and we have to protect, for example, also or to recover the Rio of Bogota, that is a huge river, but it's very, very polluted. The water is undrinkable, and it will be like a huge progress in environmental protection to recover this river and to protect even more the air from here from Bogota.